Hey guys, welcome to another live stream of the Hey Ed YouTube channel. Great to see you all here. If you have questions or comments, put them in the comment section, and if you don't mind, give me a like. Okay, so as you know, yesterday's live stream was titled Confessions of a Stockbroker. Well, today, the title is Confessions of a Wall Street Trader. Okay, because I've had many lives in my career on Wall Street, right? And today I'm going to talk about how I got into trading. Okay, so adding on to my story yesterday, there I was at a brand name Wall Street firm. I had a nice office along the wall there outside, around the bullpen with a window, which is kind of prestigious, for a Wall Street guy. And it was the same thing, right? My job as a stockbroker was to pitch stocks for people to buy. And only now, when we got a recommendation from our analysts, they were very fancy. Okay, they were in heavy bonded paper and like 4 sides to it, and it opened up like this. A nice little pamphlet, and they would give their pick for their stock pick of the week, right, or their stock pick of the year, right? And they would give us a very long, fancy explanation about why it's such a good stock and why it's going to do so well and why you should be showing this to your clients. And it was very fancy. And of course, that was all official. So we could actually send that little official report out to people. So it was just a very fancy way of doing the same thing that I was doing before, pitching the stocks that some other guy, picked for us. But this is picked by, a multi-million-dollar analyst. These guys would appear on national TV shows. These were celebrities, on Wall Street. Okay, so, what the hell do I know? I'm just a stockbroker, right? So they would give us these picks, and again, they were god awful. Now, when you're a stockbroker on Wall Street, it's hard to build a book. It's hard to build a client list. There's a lot of work that goes involved in bringing a client on board. And then it's even harder to hold on to them, especially when they keep giving you ideas. They keep losing money for people. I mean, these guys were terrible. And these were, very expensive analysts with fancy pedigrees. They were awful. The picks were just one after another. It just seemed, geez, they had to have probably a 60 or 70% failure rate, these picks they gave. And of course, their answer is always, well, don't worry about it. You like it at 50, you have to love it at 40. Right? That was the pitch. That's the answer to things that went down. The analysts are never wrong, right? We're just early. Now, by this time, I had latched on to some traders, and I started learning from those guys about how they make their picks, because it's a completely different animal, right? As a stockbroker, I made my money on commissions. So my focus was just on getting the sale. But, it's tough to bring a client on and then to keep them. And even though the clients might not blame me for the stocks going down, intellectually, they know, yeah, things go down and sometimes things don't work out. But it doesn't matter. If they keep losing money consistently, you're not going to hold on to these guys. So I was constantly having to rebuild my book. It was difficult to keep my book. It was a constant, hamster wheel. It was a constant, hustle to keep my sales up, because I had to keep replacing these clients that I was losing because of these really bad picks that I was giving from these really talented, analysts. But then I started applying the rules that these traders were using for their picks. Remember, traders, they have to make money, okay? Because that's how they made their money. They didn't make their money off the commissions. They got a piece of the profits they made on the trading. And I had some huge revelations during this period. The rules that traders live by are completely different than the rules that everyone else lives by. Okay, like one of my favorites is, and I learned this early on, is that fundamentals, as it turns out, do not matter. The earnings, the balance sheets, the product, the name of the company, none of that matters. The only thing that makes the stock go up or down is buying pressure. Okay, I Why should that be a revelation? Why should that be a surprise? Well, it's a surprise because that's not what we're taught, ironically, by the big Wall Street heads. Aren't we always taught to look for companies with strong PEs and strong management and a nice product, backlog and pipeline? Isn't that what we're taught? Well, that does not matter. Okay, that does not what makes stocks go up and down. It's buying pressure. I can sit here and list off dozens. I'm sure you can yourself. Dozens of companies that were perfectly solid, good, solid balance sheets, low PEs, really strong product pipeline, but it doesn't matter. The stock prices just go down and down and down. On the other hand, you would have piece of garbage companies. They have no earnings. They're not expected to have earnings for a couple of decades, and that stock goes up and up and up and up, right? So don't tell me the fundamentals matter in the price of a stock. It doesn't. The only thing that matters is whether is the buying activity, is the order flow in that particular stock. Now remember, all these rules apply across all product categories, whether it's a stock or whether it's a bond, whether it's a mutual fund, cryptos, Forex, it's all the same thing. So I started studying technical analysis and I started learning about the rules of trading. And there are a lot of rules in there that are simple once you understand them. There's a great story that I often think about where Christopher Columbus is being celebrated at a big feast, for his big discovery. And it's being held by Queen Isabella, right, of Portugal, right? And he's sitting around this elaborate table, and her science advisor is sitting next to Galileo. He commented, "Gee, I don't know what the big, not Galileo, I'm sorry, Columbus, right? Okay. I don't know what the big deal is, Mr. Columbus. It seems to me all you did is get on your boat and head that way until you made your discovery." Well, so the story goes that Columbus took a hard-boiled egg that was sitting in front of him, and he gave it to this science advisor. He said, "Tell me, sir, could you make this egg stand on its end, please?" And of course, the science advisor took it and he played with the egg and he couldn't get it to stand up. He said, "Well, no, it's impossible." And so Columbus takes that egg and he smashes it on the table and it sticks up. and he says, "That's it. It's easy, right? It's always easy after someone shows you how to do it." So that's what trading is, right? So a lot of these rules that I would teach my students when I started trading were very simple. They are very simple. I can academically teach someone how to trade in about 90 minutes, okay? Because over the years I refined my course, and there are a few little what's known now as edisms, right? But they're true isms in the world of trading. They're rules that I give in my course. They're nothing that I invented. A few of them are my unique, rules, but most of them are just rules that traders, live by. But most people are not aware of them. Okay, now. Anyway, so I started applying these rules for my customers. Now, I had to be careful back then about doing trades for myself because there is a very important rule, in the financial markets that if you're going to recommend a stock, in my case, to people, your clients have to be in before you are, otherwise known as front running, right? So I can't, buy a stock and then share it with my client because that's front running and it's illegal. So you better make sure that after you buy it for yourself, you don't recommend it to anyone else. You got to get everyone else in first before you get in. So I had to make a decision. So most times, when I gave recommendation, when I gave ideas to clients, I would not do the trade for myself because I wanted to keep my nose clean. I wanted to make sure everything was copacetic. But what happened is my clients all of a sudden started making money for a change. Not only was I able to keep my book, healthy, but I was able to grow it just through referrals and just through clients being happy with me and putting more money with me. And I started ignoring these recommendations coming from these fancy analysts with their fancy degrees. Matter of fact, many times I found myself on the other side of the trade. I would find myself shorting the stock that they were recommending because I would take a look at the chart and say, no, this thing does not look healthy. That's what I started to do for my clients. Is I started to apply these trading techniques for my clients. And in the periods when I wanted to trade for myself, I would just do that trade for myself and I wouldn't share it with others. But I didn't do that very often because, listen, do I wanted to do well by my clients. Right? So that's what I did. Well, I always made sure that I kept my nose clean. In my entire time as a stockbroker, I never had a problem. Even in the times when clients lost money, I never got a complaint, which, ask any stockbroker, that's rare. It's very easy to make a complaint about your broker. You just call a manager and make a complaint, and that black mark goes on your record, whether it's a legitimate complaint or not. Even if you did everything right, if you get in a complaint, it shows up on your U4, and that's it, and it stays there forever. So the fact that I was able to get out of the industry with a clean U4 was a big achievement all by itself, and I attribute a lot of that to calling my clients when things were not working. Making those hard calls, because too many brokers they didn't have the guts, the courage to call clients when they were losing money. I made that an extra point to call them and try to explain to them, what happened. And I think, most people are appreciative of that. Most people, they understand, that things happen, and they very rarely actually will blame the broker, as long as the broker was honest and upfront with them and transparent with them. Right? That's very key. And integrity is very hard to get back. Your reputation is very hard to get back once you've lost it with the client. There's a point at which trust cannot be regained. So it's, and that was kind of important to me. I'm just a kid from the Midwest. I'm just a kid from Minnesota at heart, right? So I never did quite lose that, and I'm glad that I didn't, even though I was working in a rough and tumble, environment. Anyway, so trader. So I started applying the trading techniques that the traders in the trading floor were using for my clients. And then when I could, I would use it for my own account as well, here and there. Now, in the financial world, in these brokerages, at the large firms, every large firm has their own trading floor, right? But there's supposed to be what's called a Chinese wall between, the trading department and the stockbrokers, right? The two are never supposed to meet. Okay, the traders do their thing and the brokers did their thing. And but I happened to, meet a lot of these traders, both inside of my firm and, at other firms. And I became friends with them and started learning things. I started studying things on my own. But I started to think like a trader rather than an investor. And when people are thinking about trading, one of the points I try to get across is that when people hear the word trading, they think that I'm always talking about day trading. Okay, now day trading, a lot of people do it, and they're very successful at it. But the term trader is not a reference to time frame. It's a reference to philosophy. What's your philosophy? I will often hold on to a position longer than a day, right? But I made my decision based on trading techniques, right? So you just always want to be careful which time frame you're working within. Okay, so I did more and more trading, and then eventually I decided to share the wealth and teach other people the things that I was doing, because I kept having people ask me what I was doing, how was I doing it, and started sharing little tips, here and there, and I just kind of fell into becoming an instructor that way. And a lot of these guys, well, not a lot, but several of these guys ended up going on to being professional traders, at firms. Okay. And that led me into sharing my love of trading with the average person, in addition to people who want to be professional traders. And that's how I got into being a trading instructor. And I will cover that in my next live stream that's going to be titled Confessions of a Trading Instructor. So keep an eye out for that one. All right, so any questions out there? Yeah, I love trading. Yeah, thanks, John, for that question. Yeah, listen, for me, it's a revelation when I started actually trading, because I learned an awful lot of things that were the complete opposite of what had been drilled into me in the early years as a stockbroker. Because when I became a stockbroker, I knew nothing about stocks. So who was I to argue? The guy told me to do this, I did that. No, I'm sorry. The guy told me to do X, so I did X. Because for me, it's about making a living. And for me, it's about getting the job done. And those guys had gone before me, and they're making an awful lot of money. So who was I to, argue with them? Okay. But then when I started learning about these trading techniques, light bulbs went off. And I had a lot of regret about what what I had suffered through as a stockbroker when I didn't have to, if I'd only known these few things. Okay, so thanks, John. Okay, and Maria, how long did it take me to learn how to trade? Okay, well, listen, trading is a lifelong endeavor, right? Trading is as complicated as you want to make it. Now, I'm a big believer in keeping things simple, right? That's why my course went from a 2-week course, down to 90 minutes. But again, I'm going to get into that in the next live stream. But it didn't take me very long to start getting results, because I just took what I did is I took some of the rules that these traders use, and so I started applying them. I looked for a few key things. So I specialized, just looking for a few key little indicators. And those few little adjustments made all the difference in the world. And the more of these little adjustments that I started to apply, just the better it got, right? So every little, as a trader, every little trick of the trade that you can apply to your trading makes a lot of difference. All right, guys, I think I rambled enough for this live stream. Thanks for being here. And I am going to edit this a little bit for time, and then I'm going to put it on my regular YouTube video so you can see the full edited version on the YouTube channel. So thanks for hanging out, guys, and I will see you guys soon. And remember, tomorrow's live stream is titled Confessions of a Trading Instructor. See you tomorrow, hopefully. Ed Anderson signing out.